Hi everyone, welcome to the podcast. I'm Surbhi Shukla, your host, and today we're in conversation with my first boss ever when I started out in the industry, Isha Bhansali. Isha's sense of style is fun and bold, and that's very visible in both the projects she's worked on as well as her personal style. She's not afraid to challenge perceptions and add a bit of flair and drama to the looks she creates. Take Ayushman Khurana, for example. Isha has curated most of his looks, and we see the versatility shining through all of his varied looks. On today's episode of the podcast, we're excited to be speaking with Isha on her approach to menswear styling, her perspective on fashion, and so much more. Isha, welcome to the show.
Surbhi, it's such a pleasure to talk to you finally. I'm very happy to catch up with you. It's been a very long time.
It has been a really long time, and it's so interesting, and I feel like life has come full circle because I had my start in the industry from you.
But how well have you grown?
I don't know about that, but now I just kind of want to talk to you about how you had your start in the industry.
Oh, wow. I always wanted to be a stylist.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have an editorial background just like you. But I started in 2006. My first job was at a luxury lifestyle magazine called Beautiful People that sadly doesn't exist anymore. But it was a great experience. And even to my assistants today, that I always tell them that the knowledge you'll get in magazines, you'll never get it again.
It is an education.
It's an education, absolutely. And the exposure and the education and the training that you get while you're working in a magazine.
Not to mention the discipline.
And the discipline, yes. To start with, actually.
Yeah.
That's the kind of background I have. And then did a little 4 more years of that, and I went on to styling celebrities. I don't know how menswear happened, but it kind of happened very organically, and I really feel like it's like a new chapter because I was primarily a women's wear stylist.
Yeah.
It was just like, in fact, 20% of menswear male models I worked with. Yeah, now I think it's like a new chapter, which I feel like I'm enjoying this. So, every day I'm learning new things every day. So I don't think that ever ends, thankfully.
Yeah, I don't think that ever ends.
No.
So Isha, you first styled Ayushman Khurana and Bhumi Pednikar for an editorial shoot at Femina. Soon after that, Ayushman called you and you styled him for an award ceremony. Right?
God bless him.
Yes. Take us back to that moment and how you built out that relationship.
I obviously didn't expect it because I was working in a magazine. And it was a lovely shoot that I had with both of them. They just came up with their film. And it was like a Valentine issue. And they were the hit couple because they just released a really lovely film together. Ayushman really loved the clothes that we had at the shoot. And whatever we didn't use, he's like, I love a few of the other suits that we've not used. I have an event coming up. Can I just do that? And I thought it'll just be just for that. I'm like, yeah, sure. Why don't you? And thankfully, God bless him. I'm just very happy that he loved my work. And I guess the rest was history.
Yeah.
It obviously started slow. He was at a very different space in his career as well that time. He also had a lot of gigs at that time.
Yeah.
Which I think he still does now. But he started a lot of singing because he had just formed his band that time. So he called me a lot in 2016 initially. I did a few more projects with him while I was at Femina as well. But I realized I think this is what I want to explore. Something very different. And my work was standing out.
How different is your process to styling a celebrity for their appearances versus styling them for an editorial shoot or a cover shoot?
Yeah, it's I think a great question because the processes have been very different. So Surbhi, I've always worked with a mood board for a celebrity as well. I don't know if other stylists do that now. But because I have the kind of training and I'm so used to it, I cannot not have a mood board.
There's many times where I'm the only one on set with a mood board.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
But having said that, I, of course, have to make sure that I keep a mood board keeping the personality in mind.
Yeah.
Which, of course, with, if you're working with models, they are, of course, they adapt to the trends.
Yes.
Because that's their personality.
Correct.
They look good in each and everything, right? Because that's their job. Now, when you're doing a cover shoot, it's kind of like in between both these. Because you're working with a celebrity for a cover, but at the same time, you are following spring, summer, fall, winter. Also because it's magazine, which is very, in terms of time bound, it's like a magazine, like for Femina came fortnightly. So we had more pressure on us to come up with different trends. micro trends also we focused a lot on.
Yes.
So that was like a combination of the personality as well as the trends.
Yeah.
With a celebrity, the starting point is him or her.
And where
the
they're
way
going.
they are, the way they think, what they love, what they hate. And I think, when I was seeing Law Roach's interview very recently, after he announced his retirement, he spoke about that process. And I could relate to that at a great level, because even when I began to style Ayushman, or even when I began to style Rajkumar Rao, when I began to style Irfan Saw, we used to, like in the beginning, I got a lot of outfits as well to kind of get to know them as people. I also felt like understanding their psychology played a huge role in my work, because that's really important to keep in mind when you're getting clothes for them.
Yeah.
Because Shakespeare rightly said it, make it the man, right? So we had to kind of also make sure that they also make it the clothes in the way they kind of pull it across and pull it off, because they need to be really comfortable in what they wear. And they should enjoy it as much as we do.
And it comes through when they don't.
Absolutely. You can see it on their face. So coming back to Law Roach's interview, he said that he brings this tons and tons of clothes, and he also asked them what they don't like. And that's exactly what I did in the beginning when I styled these boys.
Yeah.
Tell me what you hate. I will never get that again.
Yeah.
So I'm these are all the processes when you're getting to know them as people. So that is a big difference, I think, from these two things.
Does your personality or your personal style and preferences also inform how you dress them?
So that's also a great question, because it's kind of a challenge to keep our personal tastes aside. There are quite a lot of elements that I personally don't like. And they're very small things, like a few trimmings here and there, or maybe a few colors here and there. Like I do have, I wouldn't say I have a favorite color, because I really feel that color is just so universal. But there are certain colors I feel I just are not fresh enough. But then at the same time, everybody, there's a way to style it.
Yeah.
So you either make it or break it kind of thing. So I do try to keep my personal biases aside.
Yeah.
It's really tough to not, because you're breathing clothes in and out. It's very tough to not do that. But then, like I said, I think I keep their personality in mind. So every time now I'm sourcing, first my process is, oh my God, this is amazing. This is going to look amazing on Ayushman. Or this is going to look great on Raj. Or Irfan Saw will pull this off like a king. I definitely look at it like that. But there have been times where I feel like, he's never worn this before. Do you think I should make him wear it? It's so beautiful. Look at the craftsmanship. Look at the way it's been worn. Look at the way I can style it like this. I think I can do something different like that. It's like a combination. The only way I can succeed in doing that is because when I have a muse who lets me do it. And Ayushman always did. And the reason he always did, and everybody asked me this question, like how experimenting he is. Is he open to everything? So he's an artist himself. And just like me, he also considers fashion as art.
Yeah.
For him, it's not just clothes. And even with Irfan Saw, he was just like that. For him, it was pure art. Like I still feel no one can carry off a lungi like the way he did.
Yeah,
so I styled him this lovely Abraham and Thakur lungi like in the past. And he wore it with a shirt and sandals. And my God, he was badass. He was so good. And I feel like he was one personality. God, I really miss him. But he was one personality who had elegance and swag in equal measure.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Unmatched.
Exactly. So basically, if I'm really loving something or if I really appreciate something, I definitely bring it forth. But I try to keep my personal biases aside, because I think, but what? It's become the other way around. My style has become a little androgynous. My mom's like, dude, I think I only see you in jackets. I said, I mean, come on, they look great. And it's like architecture. And I'm so like, I love it. I love men's clothes. And I feel like, why can't women wear more and more of that?
So you find your personal style being a little bit more synergetic with your work now?
Yeah, it's been the other way around.
That's interesting. So tell me, like, you were obviously a women's wear stylist.
Yes.
And then you did this, you turned left.
Yeah, I turned left.
How did that happen?
I don't, so before I styled Ayushman, I had also had a chance to style Ajay Devgan for another magazine. And I remember my sister telling me that, okay, dude, he looks really different. And what have you done? I said, what? She's like, I've never seen him so stylish. And the thing is, Surbhi, I did not do anything too extravagant. It's Ajay Devgan. Like what, like there's a certain path to this. But he stood out. And for someone as classic as him, it was like, it was like, it just stood out so well. I said, I think my work on men and especially personal, celebrities or like real people kind of stood out more than I feel my work on models and cover shoots.
Correct.
So maybe I think I was better at observing people's personality rather than putting trends on models. And menswear had a lot of scope. And, the last 7 years would be the amount of brands. Now, even designers used to do women's wear have begun to do menswear, right?
Yeah.
Like there was Gigi, Amit, so Rimzim, primarily all women's wear designers. They started to do some fantastic tuxedos, beautiful suits. Rimzim does such gorgeous bun with the same technique that she uses on her women's wear. So I'm just so happy with this revolution.
Yeah.
And evolution also, because I just feel like we've grown so much in the menswear market.
Yeah.
And
very quickly.
Very quickly. So thank God for that. And I think it happened at the right time. Good for me. And I think for a stylist, we are as strong as the resources we have.
That's true, but I also feel like stylists are also responsible for pushing designers to do things differently.
Yes, there are still some designers on my list who I wish I could hypnotize and ask them to start doing menswear. Because they have so much potential, okay? Like AMPM, for example.
Yeah.
When are you guys going to do menswear?
Yeah, because their tailoring and their prints would lend themselves so nicely.
Exactly. Can you please put it out there? Help me with this.
I will. Okay, so from here, we move into the second segment of the podcast, which is a little bit of an industry deep dive. Obviously, with our profession, we do have a little bit of eagle's eye view on the industry, but I wanted to get your perspective on a few things, right? So when you create a look, and especially because you style celebrities, it's going to be in the public eye, and a lot of people are going to have a lot of opinions. Is that something that you take into account when you're styling?
People are entitled to have an opinion, but it's for us to allow them to change our decisions. They can exist, but they don't need to change my decisions.
Fair enough.
So I tell you what I keep in mind when I'm especially, styling someone like Ayushman. Our outfits depend on his outings. So, like, for example, if he's appearing on, say, a reality TV show, it has a mass audience, and this is something that he knows best. I wouldn't know his audience. He knows his audience better than I do. I know it by now. I've been working with him for so long, but I can't take that away from him, right?
Yeah.
He knows his audience better than me. So if he feels that, Isha, I think this is too experimental for them to understand this, give me something more simpler so that they understand what it is.
Yeah.
And let's do, and if this is so like extravagant, okay, maybe we could, I love it, give it to me on another time. And then, so we decide, I decide the look, but he kind of has a say in where he could wear it.
On a slightly different note, some stylists, and I've been guilty of this myself, have the problem of oversourcing, right? The thing is, a lot of projects demand that off of you, but this is something that you also need to consciously adopt into your process. Is this something that you think about, or is there any other like ethical practice that you've adopted into your process?
I actually hate it. I hate oversourcing.
It's a logistical nightmare.
It's a logistical nightmare, but that comes second.
It's a cost as well.
That's also comes second for me.
Yeah.
What comes first to me are my lovely designers. They're really giving out. They have their heart in every little thread they've made.
That's true.
For them, that collection of 20 outfits is much more than for us. We see 40 outfits every week.
That's true, but also, and for most other people, it's just an option. It's a rack filler.
No, I would not say I don't get options. So there's a line.
Yeah. And
genius is knowing where to stop. That doesn't mean you don't get options. That doesn't mean you go to a shoot with one shirt. No, not at all. I have been guilty too, but I have reasons. Look, it's like, for example, there was one cover shoot that I did with Ayushman, and the location was cancelled last minute. Like by last minute, I literally mean one day, one night prior, one evening prior. And I had to suddenly get extra clothes because we ended up doing it in a studio. And it was an editorial. So even location makes so much of a difference to the mood board.
Yeah.
We went from doing Savile-Row-esque, dapper, dandy outfits to metallics in a studio. That was one of my favorite covers, by the way. It went from there to there. I sourced, trust me, we could do 5 shoots with the kind of sourcing I had done that day.
Wow.
I really avoid doing that. So like I said, first, because I don't want to take so much from designers, and the thing is like, okay, so for us in our country, the biggest thing is this Bombay-Delhi divide, right? Most of fashion is in Delhi and Bollywood is in Bombay. Yeah. So we work with couriers a lot. We work with that a lot. And I really feel like it's with that in mind, they part with their clothes longer than any Bombay designer would.
Yeah.
So I have to keep all of that in mind. And then again, yes. Then coming back to what you said, logistical nightmare. Like, so honestly, even when I show Ayushman like a heap of clothes, he's like, dude. So now he's a really busy man. Now, if I ever like show him so many, like, I don't have the time to try all this.
Yeah.
So
I have to learn how to edit.
I don't want to confuse him. And then I also don't want to confuse myself. I mean, I love all of them. I love each of the clothes. Whatever I source, I love everything. But, maybe we'll do it for later. We'll keep it for later.
And visual saturation is a real thing.
For sure. And exactly like what you said, I think genius is knowing where to edit.
Yeah, exactly. But from that, we move on into the next segment, which is all about our homegrown labels.
Yes.
I'm going to give you a few scenarios and you're going to have to pick your edit of your favorite homegrown brands in that category.
Okay.
So your go-to homegrown brand for casual menswear?
Sahil and Asia. Like he does this casual, cool, underground. Like he's done a fantastic collection recently that had this very underground vibe to it.
It's very nice, yeah.
It's so cool, right?
Yeah.
I think he does casual very well.
How about ethnic wear for men?
I mean, I love Sabia.
Denim?
Denim in menswear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is a bit of a catch because I really feel like we need to do more denims. I know 1111 does denims, but there's a certain mood to it.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the raw denim, the authentic denim, like we have our Levi's, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know Country Made?
I love Country
Made. I love Country Made, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you like his denims are underrated.
So good.
But they're raw. Yeah. Unwashed, but I love the denim Sushant has done, and I told him, why don't you just sell just the denim?
But also his tailoring is so good,
beautiful. That's another topic.
Yeah.
So his denims are great, and okay, so there's this new label called Hero, which is the sister of Jay from Jaywalking.
Hero Shop, yes, of course.
Yes,
yeah.
I don't know if she's not done men's denims yet, but her denims on women's denims are fantastic.
Really, I have to check that out.
Love the washes that she's done. Love the techniques. They're really good.
I've seen her dresses and the tailoring on those are really
denims
good.
Are fantastic.
How about streetwear for men?
So many. I think on top of our head, Jaywalking is one thing that always comes on our mind. But I also love Not One. Abhishek Patni, his streetwear. And he's been doing streetwear for a long time.
Yeah.
For a very long time. In fact, he was one of the first streetwear labels in our country. And I just think like he's so cool.
Who's your go-to menswear designer for jewelry?
So these are labels actually. And there are like a lot of these new drip jewelry labels that are coming up, which are great.
Please tell me
on
more.
My neck.
Please tell me more about this.
There is Drip Project.
Okay.
That is really cool. There's High Flyer Jewels. That is very cool. There's Zillionaire. But these are all like I said, ice on my neck. Which is like the really cool, badass,
it's contemporary.
Punky and contemporary, yes.
Yeah.
But I know, I think Yoram has been doing some lovely pendants. Yeah. That is kind of working really well. And Misha also would probably, they're kind of versatile, right? They're unisex, so they could work.
We've seen a lot of international celebrities in Indian designers recently, especially with the launch of NMAC.
Yes.
If you had to style an international male celebrity, who would you style them in? No.
In an Indian designer, right?
Yeah.
I love to see Andrew Garfield in... I could say Rohit Rahul. But I love it. I forgot the name of his stylist, but I love the work that his stylist is also doing recently. He's been doing a great job. I love him in Xenia. And his stylist styles him in Xenia very often.
Yeah.
There were 2 looks that I gave Ayushman, and he wore the same thing.
Yeah.
And I just loved both of them look great.
Where do you see the space of Indian designers? How do you see them evolving further?
Oh, it's sky's the limit, I think. We've come a long way in the last 20 years. But you're talking about menswear specifically, then we've come a long way in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
We did have a few menswear labels who've been acing this. I gave a few names.
Yeah.
And I also told you, but I'm so happy that a few women's wear designers have begun to do menswear and they're acing it in no time. Like the first drop is only fantastic, I remember Gigi's first collection for menswear. It just blew my mind. Same thing for Amit. Same thing for Rimzim. Like she got the same techniques like I mentioned.
Yeah. And do you think that there's enough interest?
Oh, there's a lot of interest.
Yeah.
In fact, I will tell you the recent Fashion Week, I love the menswear shows more than the women's wear shows because it's just so refreshing. And it's great to see this. And it's become a worldwide phenomenon because I feel it's not just the designers who are doing this, not just the fashion industry. I feel everybody is even accepting it.
Right.
Like I am seeing a lot of pinks in menswear Zara.
Yeah.
And it's all kinds. I mean, it's not just a certain segment of boys
it's
buying
not
it.
just the navy blues and greys and whites and black.
So it's become a worldwide thing. And it's become like this. I mean, I feel the demand is kind of supporting that kind of supply.
And how do you think these brands could make themselves a little bit more discoverable?
I feel let's have a menswear day. Let's have a menswear fashion week maybe. Just 2 days, if not 5. The way they have it internationally. But no, I feel a little more importance needs to be given to menswear in all ways and all kinds of designers, not only streetwear labels. So that, you can have because there's this huge, that is another evolution that's happened, in menswear specifically. So,
and that's how Italy does it as well.
Exactly. You have the Pitti. The Pitti Uomo, the whole trade fair that's happening, it's only for menswear. So I don't know if that kind of scale is really advisable at this level, but it's a start.
Yeah.
And I feel we should really promote them.
I think that format is something that we could look at.
Exactly.
Can you recommend a good footwear designer for men?
I like Shoutique stuff. Shoutique is good. I like Escaro Royale. I like Pelle Santino. They're international as they may sound, but they're all homegrown labels.
So we collectively, as an industry, can't wait to see the homegrown space evolve and come to the forefront, whether in India or globally. And collaborations have obviously always played a pivotal role because it's such an amalgamation of aesthetics.
Yeah.
What are the collaborations that you've seen recently that you've resonated with?
I mean, I think Sabia H&M was a rage.
Yes.
I remember even hearing his podcast about how, he got a lot of flack for unavailability of clothes, right? Because they were sold out in no time. Immediately. Yeah. I think that's a great thing. That says a lot.
It does.
That says a lot. And I'm pretty sure he takes it in a good way. Okay, so the reason, Surbhi, the reason why it resonates with me because I think it was sold the world over, right?
Yes.
And that's exactly what is needed.
Yeah.
We've been quite exposed to the West, right?
Yeah.
It's about time they are exposed to us. And that is why I loved it.
On that scale, who would you like to see the world discover next?
From the couturiers?
Yeah.
People know Gigi already. I think even Amit needs to get out there.
Yes.
Amit needs to get out there for sure. I'm talking about taste, kind of fashion that'll kind of work even there. And I'm so happy for Gigi and Rahul Mishra. Abu Sandeep obviously started very early on because I remember many, 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 many years ago, Judi Dench had worn Abu Sandeep, this beautiful grey sherwani at the Oscars. This must be some 15, I don't know, very long time ago. Very long time ago. And I know that they have already started their journey. But I think from the younger lot, I would even like to see a lot of Rimzim internationally.
Yeah.
That'll be nice. Hemant and Nandita.
So good.
They have a huge international clientele, I think.
Yeah, they do.
So that is one. And I think even the streetwear labels need to get out there.
Yeah, for sure.
We need to have that.
Yeah. Which international designers would you like to see collaborate with an Indian designer?
I think let's have an international accessory label with an Indian designer. For example, we've already seen Pero with Adidas. And we just spoke about how much we love Rajesh Pratap Singh.
Yes.
Imagine if he had to come up with, maybe footwear if he had to come up with
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
or maybe like a line of leather accessories, which will go really well with his outfits. You know, we need to have an Indian designer collaborate with a sunglass brand. You saw the collaboration of Martin Margiela with Gentle Monster.
So good.
That is what we need with a Gigi. That is what we need with the Rimzim. That is what we need with any
metallic fibers
exactly
in an acetate form.
Exactly,
so good.
exactly. You know, so that is what we need. And I feel like you don't need to be, I mean, it doesn't have to resonate it doesn't have to be exactly the same clothing line, because at the end of the day, with geniuses like, you know, like Rajesh Pratap Singh or Sabyasachi or a Gaurav Gupta, it's beyond their clothes, no? It's about their idea.
Yeah.
Or at the end of the day, it's all about what goes on in their head.
Yeah.
And if we can get that same aesthetic with any other accessory brand, which I'm sure they'll do, it'll be a great collaboration.
Moving on into the next segment, we have a few questions from the Blur the Border team. So they ask, what is the one skill that you recommend a budding or aspiring stylist to develop before or when they're joining the industry?
I will impart that same knowledge that my very first boss imparted on me.
Mm-hmm.
Your job is to bring people together.
Mm-hmm.
You're not making the clothes,
but
you're curating it.
Yeah.
You've got to value it.
Yeah.
You've got to understand that their heart lies on every thread. So that is the first education you need to give to stylists.
Yeah.
I mean, another, like, what do I say? An advice that I got from my international fashion school was have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
I think stylists need to have a sense of humor. They need to know what's going on in the world. They need to know, even if it's got nothing to do with clothes. The thing is, you know, we've been educated with this, but I don't know if the kids nowadays do know that. Do people still know about how the economy affected the hemlines? Remember that kind of education that we had?
Yeah.
I wonder if they still have that. Or even if they do, I wonder if they really keep it in mind for the rest of their life.
I hope,
So that is something that's very important you need to know what's going on.
Yeah.
So that's number 2, and I think also very important.
So the next question they have for you is, as you reach up to a senior level as a stylist, does it get easier?
In terms of skill, I wouldn't say it ever gets easy, because every day is a new day. And the good thing or the bad thing, but I would say actually good thing. The good thing about fashion is that it changes.
Mm-hmm.
So what you did 6 years ago, you know you're not going to do it now. So you need to keep developing a set of new skills in terms of basically a basic talent of putting things together. What gets easy is the process. Sometimes you do go on autopilot mode because you know what's going to happen where, and you know what's going to be. And this is something that happens in every industry, right? If you're working with the same people or the same kind of people you've been working with, so you know them also really well. You know the way they work.
Yeah.
So processes, I feel, get really easy. Skills never get easy. It's the same. And in fact, it keeps changing. Right. So you have to keep learning every day. Like, I feel like even if I can have like 20 years of experience on my 21st year also, I can still do a shitty shoot.
Yeah.
With badly put together, or maybe, you know, like, what is this? This is so outdated, or this is like, you've got to move in with the times, and that's really important. So it's at the end of the day, it's a creative process. But no, even in a creative process, fashion particularly being more challenging because it changes so much.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are in an industry that is ever changing, and that's the best part about it, you can't be like, okay, I'm done with the learning. No, that never happens.
Thank you so much for that.
Such a pleasure to talk to you. As always, we can go on, I think.
I think we could go on for a while. But thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
And that was our conversation with Isha. So many years of styling experience summed up into a few minutes. If you liked this episode, please follow us on your favorite streaming channel.